Okay, third grade, we are going to start learning about data sets and graphing, and some of the graphs that we're going to be going over are pictographs. And a pictograph is a way that you can communicate information. It's a graph that uses pictures to represent a set of data, okay? So in this one, Green Star Bakery donut sales, okay? They did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's where they collected data from. And down here, this little part down here with this little donut, and it has an equal 10 donuts, that means one of these donuts is going to equal 10 donuts. So on Thursday, they did not sell 2 donuts. They sold 20 donuts. On Friday, they sold 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 donuts. Saturday, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then I have half a donut. What do you think half a donut is going to mean in this pictograph? If a whole donut is 10, half a donut would be, what do you think half a donut would be? Half a donut would be 5. So here they sold 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 5 donuts. And on Sunday, they sold 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay? So this graph shows us that Green Star Bakery sold the most donuts on Saturday and the least number of donuts on Thursday. Okay? The key tells us that each donut picture represents 10 donuts being sold. That means half a donut would represent 5, and we just talked about that. Okay? So this is what a pictograph looks like. Now, you're not always going to have donuts. Sometimes you'll have stars, smiley faces, ice cream cones. It's a picture, so it's not always going to be a donut. And the key is not always going to represent 10. Sometimes it's 2 or 5 or 6 or something. So you have to be paying attention to this key to know what each picture represents. Okay, so this is a pictograph. This is a bar graph, all right? I know you've probably seen bar graphs before. Sometimes you see bar graphs going up, so the bars go up vertically, and then sometimes you see the bars going side to side, and that would be horizontal. You have to be able to identify and be able to read both of them. This is just an example of one. So in this bar graph, you can use vertical or horizontal bars to show data set. Bar graphs can be easy to read and a quick way to view data. This is a really common way when I tell students that they have to draw a graph. They choose a bar graph because a bar graph is typically pretty simple. This bar graph shows us what sports are most popular among third grade students. All right, so we have baseball, soccer, football, and hockey. These are the sports that they asked third graders which ones they liked. And baseball has 4, so you would go to the top of your bar, go all the way over, and that would be a 4. You would go to the top of your bar, go all the way over, and that would be a 12. Top of your bar all the way over, and that's an 8. And then top of your bar all the way over, and that's going to be a 2. Now, on the side of this bar, it's counting by 2s. So if a number stopped in the middle, you would just add 1 more to the number below it. So if my bar went right here halfway between 4 and 6, halfway between 4 and 6 would be what? Halfway between 4 and 6 would be 5, okay? So this is what a bar graph looks like. This is a dot plot. This one's probably kind of new to you, okay? You place a dot above a number on a line to represent one data point. So a dot plot can also be known as a line plot. So this is the pets owned by third graders. Each dot represents one student. This is also important to understand. Just like in our pictograph, where you have a key, your donuts is 10. Each donut represents 10 donuts sold. Here, this is one dot represents one student. That's really, really important to know and realize because sometimes your dots mean more than one, whatever is being represented. Okay, so this is 0 pets, 1 pet, 2 pet, 3 pets, 4 pets, 5 pets. So down here is the number of pets students own. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 students that took this survey, they don't have any pets. 1, 2, 3. 3 students have 1 pet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 students have 2 pets. 1, 2, 3. 3 students have 3 pets. No students have 4 pets, and only 1 student has 5 pets, okay? That's how you read a dot plot. It's important to give it a title, include a key, and be sure you label this number line down here so you know what you're measuring. That's the same thing here on your bar graph. Give it a title, label the axis so you know what you're measuring. So you're going to label your this so you know the number of students. That's what you're measuring. And then you're going to label down here at the bottom so you know what your categories are, your bars. You know what they represent. Same thing here. It's important to give your graphs a title, give it a key, and make sure that your pictures are as consistent in size as possible. So when you're on the computer, that's a lot easier. But if you're drawing this by hand or you draw one by hand, it's important that you try to keep your pictures as closely the same in size as possible. It's not always going to be perfect, but try to be as accurate as possible, okay? And the last graph is called a frequency table. So this is a lot of times where you plan your data, and this is what it looks like. So my classmates' favorite colors, they gave the kids the options of pink, blue, green, and orange. And a frequency table can collect data in tally marks, and it can also collect it in a frequency, and that's just the number of tally marks, basically. When you're creating your frequency table, it's important to keep in mind, give your frequency table a title. All of your graphs need to have titles. Label the columns so you know what information in what each column is about. These are your color choices. These are your tally marks. These are your frequency, or this is your frequency. As you're collecting data, use tally marks to keep track. So like if you were walking around your house asking your family members who likes blue, pink, green, or orange, you put a tally mark for every person. Or if you're in class asking people who likes what colors, you'd be putting a tally mark for each answer that you get. And when you finish collecting your data, you can total up the tally marks to find the frequency right here. And then a lot of times you use a frequency table to make your bar graph, your pictograph, or your dot plot. All right, so we're going to practice this a little bit more during this lesson.